Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley Evans. Kevin Skinner, Business Director of Employee Recognition and Engagement at Achievement Awards Group, is with us today. Kevin has spent 25 years in human performance improvement across many international brands. Today, he will be chatting to us about building a more engaged and motivated workforce. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure, Ashley.
To start off with, why do you think that recognition programs are so critical in today's workforces?
So I think recognition's always been important. It's important today, but it's equally been important forever. And the reason for that is when people feel appreciated, when they feel valued, they are engaged and they perform. So it's important today, but it's always been important. And in fact, there's a little formula that basically goes: recognition drives engagement, and engagement drives performance. And that's why it is absolutely critical. I'd go a step further to say that I think it's one of the most underutilized tools in a business's armory. If you want to get traction, if you want to get transformation, if you want to get results, use recognition and reward.
And what impact does recognition have on morale and productivity?
So it has a massive impact, Ashley. I mean, if you go back to really what's going on when a recognition's happening, when someone's being appreciated, the medical science shows that dopamine's being released, serotonin's being released, and those are the feel-good hormones. So it feels good, and we know this when we've received an honest compliment. So how does it drive morale? How does it drive motivation? It just feels good. We like it. The interesting thing is that it's not just the receiver of the recognition that benefits, but the medical research shows that exactly the same thing is going on for the giver. So it's massively important for morale and motivation, and that then translates into engagement, which translates into performance, things like productivity. And you mentioned productivity. I guess there's a go-to study that connects engagement and business metrics, and it's a Gallup study, and they've shown that in organizations where engagement is high, quartile 1 companies, when you compare productivity with the quartile 4 companies, where engagement is least good, that's a bad terminology, but the difference in productivity is 14%. So engagement delivers results, engagement delivers productivity, engagement delivers all sorts of other business metrics, which are really important, and that's why it's so important.
And how do you measure the success of a recognition program? Let's take Achieve, for example.
So Achieve is our own internal recognition program. Look, measurement is critical. I mean, the C-suite want to know whether this program is making a difference. Is it delivering value to the business? So we've got to be able to measure it, and we've got to show that value. So we have borrowed a model from the learning world. I come from a learning background, and it works beautifully. It's the Kirkpatrick model, and it measures impact at 4 hierarchical levels, sort of getting progressively more important to the business. But at level 1, it's simply how satisfied are our employees with the program? Do they like it, and to what extent? So if they're saying, look, this is a brilliant program, we can't just take it away from them. It's giving us some sort of insight, we're doing something right, but it's a weak measure. It's what in learning we used to call the happy sheet. Going up a level, we get a little more tangible. Now we start to measure program engagement. So they say they like it, but are they actually doing it? Are they engaged? So are they signing in? If we have a platform, are they signing in? Are they sending recognitions? Are they socially active? Are they liking other people's posts? Are they commenting on those posts? And we've got really great metrics there. So you can really see the level of engagement and track that. Then going up a level, we start to it starts to get a little more difficult, but we want to see a connection between our program and employee engagement, that lead indicator of performance. So we've talked about that already. You know, what drives performance? Well, engagement does. So we want to be able to track a movement in employee engagement. And most businesses have an employee engagement index. They do employee engagement surveys. So that data is often available. And that's an important measure. And then finally, the sort of gold standard is, are we seeing movement in business metrics? So for example, on the people side, are we seeing better staff retention, Are we seeing lower absenteeism? The HR people are always keen to see that, and we can show the link between our program and those measures. But then the other measures, the operational measures we talked about, so productivity, has that improved? Safety record, has that improved? Health care measures, and also on the customer side. Are our customers more satisfied? Are they more loyal? So you can do the links there, and you then get a very good, clear framework of whether or not the program's making a difference for you.
Kevin, what are some of the key mistakes, in your opinion, that companies make when implementing recognition programs?
There's so much that can be done, and there's so much that can be done badly, and there's so much that can be done well. I could spend a half an hour sort of talking through this particular question, Ashley, but I think at the very start, it's having the right mindset on this particular subject. So that's believing in recognition, embracing it, and doing it 100%, not doing it just because it's a tick box, because it's one of the elements of the total rewards model, but because we believe in it. And that mindset sort of sets the tone for the whole program. And sort of allied to that, you need an exec sponsor. You need someone who believes in it at the very top, who's going to champion it, who's going to fly the flag, who's going to bring everybody with them and make it work. So I think that's a big mistake. C-suite guys say, well, throw the ball to HR and say, go and do this, and then step back. And that doesn't work. That's a big mistake. We're very fortunate at Achievement Awards Group, where our CEO absolutely embraces it and is an absolute role model in this space. So that's number one. I think then it's about starting with the end in mind. So being very clear about the goals you're trying to achieve, and aligning the recognition program with what's important in the business. Because when you bring recognition and reward to bear on anything, you get traction. And so that's an absolute fundamental mistake companies make. They just sort of throw recognition out there, and it's not purposeful. So alignment is really important. In having enough resources to do the job properly. Often the ball gets thrown to someone in payroll who's got 1,001 other things to do. They can't manage the program, and it fails. It will fail. So if you believe in it, give the right level of resource to make the program work. And the same applies with the reward budget. So, it's recognition and rewards layered over a recognition sort of have a multiplier effect on that recognition in terms of impact. But often companies underinvest in that reward component, and that's a real fundamental mistake. I think the rule of thumb is, be as generous as you possibly can. In fact, I read a recent McKinsey paper which absolutely summed that up. It was brilliant. They said there were two key things. If you want your reward program, they called it an incentive program, to work. And the first one was alignment, and we've spoken about alignment. But the second was generous rewards. And I loved that. I absolutely loved that. That spirit of generosity, it comes back. What we give, we get back, we receive. So that's a big area where companies fail. And they often say, well, where are we going to get the money for this? How are we going to fund this thing? And I would just sort of throw this one out there and say, have a look at your short-term incentive budget or allocation or fund, because all you need is a 3 or 5% component of that to fund a program like this. And you'll get much better traction, I would say, from something like this than a year-end bonus where we'll talk about principles of effective recognition in a minute, but one of them is immediacy. And an STI program is at the end of the year, it's not driving daily behaviors. So take a little bit of budget from that and put it in there. So there are lots of other. Last thing I would say, actually, in terms of mistakes, and that is companies not having the right technology to support these programs, especially bigger companies. They actually then become a bit of a stone around the neck. They're hard to manage, they're labor intensive, but good technology, a social recognition and reward platform that does the job, that makes it seamless, that makes it frictionless, that makes it fun, that's important. So big mistake companies make is not investing properly in the technology.
And lastly, how does one ensure that they get the optimal return on investment when it comes to recognition programs?
Again, so many things to think about. I guess it's to some level boils down to doing the basics properly. There's no real rocket science involved here. It's just do the basics well. And that starts with creating the right recognition framework, the structure of your program. And that means that you have both informal elements to that program, with the social recognition I've spoken about, where it's flowing up and down and across, and there's lots of activity. That needs to be part of it. But then going right up, and I'm picturing a pyramid as I speak. At the top of the pyramid of a good recognition program is your pinnacle event, your pinnacle award, that sort of recognition for those people you really can't afford to lose from your business. That's more formal, it's high prestige, high status, the CEO is often involved. But a good program, if you want to get ROI, make sure that your program has a mix of all of those elements. So that's number one. Secondly, there are a number of principles that are critical if you want to optimize the impact, that word optimize, from your recognitions, and that's sort of coming down to a more granular level. And if I can just go through them, I would appreciate that. It might take a little while, but I'll do it. So number one, good recognition is inclusive. It reaches deep into the business and everybody can benefit. It's not this exclusive thing that happens at the end of the year for a select few. It's absolutely inclusive. Everybody's touched by the program. So inclusivity, principle number one. Principle number two is visibility. Good recognition that creates impact, is when it's visible to others. They all want to be part of the action. Wow, Ashley's just been recognized. Look what she did. I want a bit of that. And so visibility is important. Thirdly, immediacy. I think I might have mentioned this before. The closer the recognition or reward is to the thing that's been done right, the more powerful that immediacy, that clear line of sight between what I've done and what I've got. So that delivers impact, and it's important. And then frequency. So the fourth principle is frequency. Once a year is not enough. Again, these pinnacle, a lot of companies think, okay, we've got this pinnacle event at the end of the year and we've ticked the box for recognition. That is not enough. If we think about our own personal relationship at home, our partner, our wife, our husband, if we appreciated them once a year, what would that do? It wouldn't create for a good relationship. And so it's the same in business. So we need a frequency of recognition. We need to encourage it. It's the oil that lubricates the business. So we need a lot of it and frequency. However, recognition needs to be authentic, and authenticity always trumps frequency. So it needs to be objective, evidence-based, but heartfelt, a genuine compliment. We know how powerful that is. So good recognition is authentic recognition. And as I say, it always trumps frequency. And we see quite a lot of AI-generated recognitions out there, and it immediately turns me off. You just think, this hasn't come from here. It loses its power. So what we're talking about here are things that add impact and power to recognition and generate the return on investment that we're looking for. Two more. Autonomy. Autonomy refers to the reward side of a recognition. So a recognition and reward are packaged together. But the principle is that you give people autonomy, freedom of choice, flexibility to do what they want with the reward. Don't try and second guess what they want. That's a big mistake companies often make. Send them a hamper of this or a KFC voucher, or no, give them the choice, because then it's meaningful for them. So that's key. And then finally, if you want ROI, if you want impact, your program should be agile. So what's important in the business today? Maybe there's an issue with customer service. So let's turn that up in the program. We need to be agile enough to do that. There might be an initiative around plain English, or communicate with our clients in a more clear way. So create a campaign there, recognize and reward people around that, but do it quickly, and you start to get traction. So this all generates impact and ROI. And then finally, it's about implementation. So if you want, A lot of companies launch their program and then abandon it, and it dies on the vine. It just quietly fades away. And there are a whole bunch of things around execution that are important. Constant measurement. You know, are we frequently going back to our framework, our measurement framework? Are we tracking our KPIs? Are we tracking our measures? Are we seeing improvement? If we want it to work, if we want to generate an ROI, that continuous improvement is absolutely fundamental. And I think that sort of sums it up.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.